Hello and welcome to our series of talk on befriending feelings. I am Nikita Yogi. So continuing from where we left in our last video, today we will look at the first few steps that we can take in dealing with so-called negative emotions. Well, actually, there is nothing as negative emotions. It's our mind, that categorizes it as positive or negative, bases the pleasant or unpleasant experience it creates inside of us, and also bases what is acceptable and not acceptable in the world outside. So emotions are just energy in motion. If you can acknowledge and accept it as in when it comes up, that's more than enough. Because they also settle after a few moments. Have you seen anyone who is forever continuously angry or forever continuously happy? No, right? Emotions come and then they also settle. So today I'll share two basic steps with you. But before I do that, I have a small disclaimer to make, which is this might sound a little contradictory, but it's very true and it works in order to really befriend your feelings. So if you really want to learn befriending your feelings, you have to first learn to distance yourself from your emotions or affect and not become that. So for those of you who would not know the difference, please watch the previous video on emotions and affect and how they're different from the feelings. Like I'll give a simple example that you cannot use your angry energy well or to your advantage if you become angry, or you cannot use your sad energy well or to your advantage if you become sad. Yeah, because that emotion will then totally overpower you and drown you. So two very simple and basic steps that one needs to practice, because this will only come with practice. Step one is to learn to take a pause. Do not act or make any decision when your emotions are raw. Yeah, that's a rule, that when you are fully experiencing, strongly experiencing any emotions, do not act and do not make any decisions. Take a pause in those moments. And the moment any unpleasant emotion comes up, actually, our mind and ego immediately takes on to a job to protect us and bring everything back to equilibrium. Yeah, that's the job that our ego have. The easiest and the shortest way our mind knows is to give out a reaction. If you are in a critical engagement, by time, say that I am experiencing some impact of what just happened. I will need some time to process the same, but pause is important. And the second step, which we all need to learn and practice, is to distance ourselves from the character we are in that story. So whenever emotions come up strongly, there's always a story, and you are some character in that story. Okay, so how can you see yourself from far, and how can you distance yourself? So how does it start? And I'll give you a simple example. Say, for example, I am sad. Typically, normally how we express it is, or tell to ourselves, what we say in our mind is, I am sad. Yeah, the first step now you can take is to distance yourself a little and say, I am noticing I am sad. Now when you do this, what you're doing is you are bringing the observer inside of you alive, who is watching you being sad. Yeah, and this is first level of distancing. The second level of distancing can be, you can say, I can see a part of me is sad. Now this is very important. Whenever we feel any emotions and we it sort of overpower us, then you become that in that moment. You become angry in the moment. You are grieving in a moment, or you are full of it in a moment. So we start considering the whole us as that, which is not true. Yeah, there are moments when you might have experienced sadness and joy at the same time, in the same very moment. So one part of you is sad, but one part of you is also happy about something. Yeah, and that's quite possible. So when you're distancing yourself and noticing yourself, the next step you take is you See that as a part of you and not as a whole you. Okay, so I'll repeat. From saying I am sad, you come down to I am noticing I am sad. Then you come down to I can see a part of me is sad. Okay, and then further distancing is now you disassociate with that I. Okay, so name yourself as the character you are. So name yourself as you are. So I would say Yogi is experiencing sadness in this moment. Yeah, or an ex-person, whatever the name could be, say Divya. So Divya is experiencing sadness in this moment. So you're not even now using the word I, and you've distanced even further. Yeah, and the last step of distancing again would be saying Yogi is experiencing this momentary sadness because, yeah, and then whatever be the reason, you start telling to yourself. Now what have you done here? You are acknowledging that this is momentary and this is not permanent, because all emotions actually, when they come up, they are momentary and they are not permanent. It is our mind that keeps playing the same cassette, same story, and then we keep living and reliving those emotions. And especially if negative emotions, it causes a lot of suffering to all of us. So saying that, okay, Yogi is experiencing this momentary sadness because, and da 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 da. And then when you start answering the question because, that is when actually you are acknowledging the feeling, because your rational is also stepped in, along with the energy of that emotion. So I'll repeat all the distancing stages. I am sad. 2, I am noticing I am sad. 2, I can see a part of me is sad. 2 again, Yogi is experiencing sadness in this moment. To the last stage of distancing, saying Yogi is experiencing this momentary sadness because da 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 da, whatever that may be. Okay? Now, a lot of people ask me, what do we do when others display negative emotions, the so-called negative emotions? What do we do? Like, my boss is very angry, or my husband is very angry, or my wife is very angry, or and anger again is because mostly we understand anger, and there's lots around anger these days, but any emotion for that matter. When other is experiencing a certain emotion which is so-called negative, then what do we do? How do we engage? Same 2 steps will apply. But how will you word it? You will again distance yourself. See, what happens is normally when we are encountered with somebody very angry, or somebody very sad, or somebody very fearful, we get hooked to it. And then we start playing in that story and in that drama, and then we display reactive emotions to their negative emotions, which is not healthy. Yeah. So what you do is you actually distance yourself, and as you do that, you will also help the other person to distance themselves from those so-called negative emotions. So how do you do this? Say, I see this has impacted you, and I can understand that. Now, if a person, with you is very angry, rather than you giving an angry reaction to that person's anger, you unhook yourself and you say, I see this has impacted you and I can understand. Yeah. And another level, you can say, I see that you are experiencing anger. I see that you are experiencing sadness. I see you are experiencing some unrest inside of you. Let's talk when it has settled a little. What are you doing? You are actually distancing, you are actually unhooking yourself, you are helping the other person also to distance from the emotion and cut off from the drama. And this is very, very helpful. So that's all. 2 basic steps. Learn to take a pause and distance yourself from the character you are playing in the story that you're living. Yeah. So from next video onwards, we will start talking about all kinds of pleasant and unpleasant emotions. Stay tuned. Thank you.